All right, welcome to Biology 103 online. What I wanted to do is make just a quick video to show you where you can find things in Blackboard. If you've never taken an online science course, it might be a little different than other courses you've taken. So we'll just go through some of that real quick. This is our homepage, and this is where you should go whenever you log into Blackboard and click on our course. It should pop you right here. Make sure you pay attention. There's a My Tasks section. So everything that's going to be due within the next week or so, I'm going to post that right here. And if you need more information, you can click and it'll tell you what you need to know. There's also going to be announcements posted right here. And usually at least once a week, I'll post an announcement with everything that's coming up too. So as long as you're checking Blackboard pretty regularly, you should be aware of what's coming up. You should never be surprised and say, I didn't know we had a test that day, because I'm going to tell you several times on here. And I'll show you some other ways you can find that too. Let's go over to the tabs on the left. Now this is something they just started doing in the middle of last semester. There's an attendance verification assignment. All this is a really quick, you're going to tell us what you think you're going to get out of this course. It's not for a grade, but the reason this is really important is for online courses, you have to do something to be counted as attending. And if you don't complete an assignment within the first week, you can get dropped from your classes. So this is just something you need to do right off the bat to make sure that you don't get dropped, and then you don't have to worry about it. All right. Underneath that, there's a tab that says Start Here. And I know you've made it this far because here's the video that you're watching right now. It's got some basic information about the course. If you signed up for this course earlier, I sent you an email before the beginning of the semester that had a Getting Started letter. So there's a copy of that right there. That's just kind of like a printed version of what we're going over right now. All right, real quick note about online labs. This one is really important. Because this is a science class, it's a 4-hour lab-based science, we have to do labs in here. And since it's online, we're not going to be meeting. So you have to order a lab kit that's going to have most of the equipment you need to do your labs from home. There will be a few things you need to provide, like household items type stuff, I'm trying to think, like milk for one of the labs, things like that. But the kit's going to have most of the equipment you need. Now, what I told you in the email I sent before the beginning of the semester is that it can take some time for those lab kits to come in. So if you have not ordered your lab kit, you need to do that as soon as possible. All right, really important that you do that. The other thing is that you have to purchase a lab kit to be able to access the lab activities. There's a website we're going to use, and if you haven't bought your lab kit, it's not going to let you do the labs. Labs make up around 20% of your final grade, so make sure that you get a lab kit if you haven't got that already. All right. A few more things right here. It talks about required textbook and instructional materials. So this is the textbook we're using, Biology by Sylvia Mader. I'm going to say I would strongly recommend it. It's really good to have. It's a great resource to use when you're studying. Having said that, I've had students in the past who have told me, financially, that's not an option. I can't get a textbook. So I'm going to have lectures recorded for all the material that we're going to cover. And if you will watch every one of those lectures and take the notes that I tell you to take and stuff like that, we're going to cover everything you need to know for the test. So don't feel like if you can't purchase a textbook, that you're going to fail the class, because if you'll watch the lecture videos, you're going to be okay. But if you're looking for something to help you study, textbooks are a really, really good resource. You need textbook, you need a lab kit, and then obviously it's an online course, so you're going to need access to a laptop or desktop computer. Smartphones are great, but they're not going to do everything you need to do in this class, so you need access to a computer. If you are anywhere around any of the Gadsden State campuses, we've got some computers in the libraries that have Respondus. Lockdown Browser is one of the programs we're going to use for taking tests. They've got all that installed. So just make sure you've got access to that. One quick note is Chromebooks there have been some issues with those in the past taking tests. I think they've got that fixed now. There's a extension for Google Chrome that you can use to use Respondus, but it has been kind of giving us hiccups in the past. So if you do happen to have a Chromebook, see if you can line up a backup computer just in case. If it's not going to let you take a test, you can have another one that you can borrow to take exams with. Okay, all right, I'm rambling. Let's get a little bit quicker. So we'll go through these tabs real quick. Like I said, homepage is where you're going to find all this material. Instructor info, here is my office hours for the semester. So if it's during any of these times, I'm going to be here Monday through Wednesday in my office. You can just call this number and I will be available if you have any questions. All right. If you are on campus, feel free to stop by if you've got any questions. All right, syllabus. I sent you, and the email that I sent had a copy of the syllabus, so you can open that up and download it if you need to find the syllabus. You can find it right there. All right, one of the first assignments you can go ahead and get started on, there is a syllabus quiz, and this is going to be just really simple questions. If you can open and read the syllabus, it's going to be questions like, what's the date of our first exam? I think it's got stuff like, where's my office number? So if you've got the syllabus, you're going to be able to find that. This is a 5-point assignment, but it's just to make sure you know how to read the syllabus and you can find that information. All right, I mentioned in the homepage you can see upcoming assignments, but I've also got right here a list of every single assignment for the whole semester. It's got the due date, the name of the assignment, and how many points it's worth. So what I would do is, there's a downloadable copy down here. Just download that, print it, and have it with you, and you should never get caught off guard, because literally everything that's going to be worth points this semester is right there in front of you. Okay, you can click here to see any announcements that we have. Those are going to be on the home page as well. Let's look at the learning materials. This one's pretty important. So we're going to have 5 tests in this class. And because it's a summer class, this is kind of fast-paced. That means basically every other week you're going to have a test in this class. So just be aware of that. It is fast-paced. You can get through it. I've been teaching this as a mini class, which is even shorter than summer. So you can do it. Just make sure you realize it is quick. Each unit folder is going to be the material that we cover in a test. So unit 1, this is all the test 1 stuff. All right, it's separated into different chapters. So the first exam is going to be on chapters 1, 15, 19, and 2. And a couple things right here. So let's look at chapter 1 for an example. The first item up top is the PowerPoint, and you can download the PowerPoint. Let me show you what I would do if it were me. All right, here's the PowerPoint for chapter 1. What I would do is download this and print. Sorry, there we go. If you print, be careful, because if you just print the PowerPoint, it's going to be every page is a slide, and you're going to waste like way too much ink to do that. What you can do is select handouts. I like the one that says 3 slides per page. I know that's kind of small, but what that allows you to do is when you print that off, it's going to be small, but it's big enough for you to read the slides, and it gives you plenty of space out to the side to write notes. So here's what I would recommend if you're looking for a way to do well in the class. Print those handouts, have your space for notes. And then I've got the lecture videos, which is me lecturing on the PowerPoint. This is as close as I can get to if this was a traditional class where you'd be in the classroom and I would lecture and you'd take notes. These videos are the same PowerPoint that you have.
Chapter 1. Well, before we do that, this is...
Skip ahead a little bit. All right, so this is the PowerPoint that you've just printed off and you've got a handout of. I'm going to lecture through it. If I highlight something, you can just highlight it on your PowerPoint. There's going to be a few times where I will type out some extra notes. So let's see, like right around here, I'm typing some extra definitions that you need to know. You can write that in the margin where those space for notes were. And if you'll just treat this like a regular class, when you're watching these videos, sit there with your handout, take notes. You're going to cover everything that you need to know in this class. There's not going to be like any surprise stuff that you were supposed to read in the book. If you'll do that, you should be really well prepared for the class. All right, so just make sure, like I said, I would print the PowerPoint handouts, watch the lecture videos. If you don't watch the lecture videos, that is, to me, that's like if you were in a traditional class, that would be like never showing up for lecture. It's probably not going to go well if you try to do that. And then also down at the bottom of each of the unit folders, I've got a study guide too. And all that is just an outline of everything that we covered, but you can use that as a guide to help you study. All right, real quick, some of the other things. The exams, you're going to find those in the exams tab over here. So like our real tests are going to be right there. There's a couple other things you can go ahead and get started on. There is a pre-test, which is just to see what you know about biology before the semester starts. It's not worth any points. It's not going to count against you. We just need to know before the beginning of the semester, what did you know about biology? And we're going to compare that to how you do later on. So go ahead, like as soon as you're done with this video, take the pre-test. If you happen to know the answers, click it. If you're reading a question and you don't have a clue what the answer is, you can skip it. That's perfectly okay. All right, down here is a practice exam. And I want you to take this one pretty early on because this is basically just going to make sure, number one, you know how to follow the instructions for the test so that you don't, get a 0 because you're cheating or doing something like that. And then number two, just to make sure that you can use Respondus. I mentioned that sometimes people with Chromebooks can have issues. So this is a way for you to figure out if you're going to have issues before the real test happens. I've got a video that shows you more information about this and how to download Respondus. So just as soon as you get kind of settled in with the course, go back to exams and the practice exam, and you can go through and do that. All right, real quickly, we'll have a couple other assignments. So later on in the semester, we'll have some discussion board assignments. You can find those right here. Quizzes, you can find those right there. There's actually one quiz you can go ahead and knock out now, the About Me survey. It's just to get to know a little bit about you. And that should be available now, so you can go ahead and take that. But we'll also have chapter quizzes every time we do a lecture video, or like each week. You're going to have review quizzes on the material that we covered, and you can find those right there too. All right, labs. I mentioned earlier that we have to have a lab kit. So here's where you're going to find all this information. I'm sorry, this is like information overload today, but I've got another video that shows you how to get set up with the labs. There's even like a document that you can print off. But this link right here where it says click here for SI Cloud, your lab website, that's the website that we're going to use for labs this whole semester. So you're going to click this a lot. And then it's got a few other notes and stuff that you can see there. So again, get settled in the class, and then you can go back and click on this video, and you'll find more information there. All right, couple last things. There is a diversity project. This is something we do in all of our science classes here at Gadsden State. But the quick version is science. The cool thing about science is you get people from different countries, different ethnicities, different backgrounds that are all trying to solve the same issues, and they bring their own perspectives to that. So we've got some biographies for Dr. Ben Carson and then Dr. Patricia Bath. If you'll go through and read those biographies, and you can even like have them pulled up on your computer. Once you've read them and you feel comfortable with the information, there is a quick 10-question quiz. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to make this a bonus assignment. So it's going to count worth possibly 5 bonus points. I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but every semester, at the end of the semester, I've got students that are like borderline between 2 grades. And those 5 points can make a difference. So I would do that too. Most of these assignments I'm telling you about are due pretty early on, so I would, and you can see the due dates if you go to homepage. You can see all the due dates listed right here. But just go ahead and get all of these knocked out of the way because we're going to have some more assignments next week. So if you'll get them out, complete them as soon as you can. You shouldn't get too backed up or anything like that. All right, last things, there's a message tab. This is going to be the best way to get in touch with me. If you'll go to create message and then click to, I am going to be the name that says instructor out to the side. So click this arrow. I'm a recipient now. You can type me a message. I'm going to check Blackboard pretty regularly, probably honestly more than my email, especially over the weekends and stuff. So if you'll send me a message on Blackboard, I'll be able to get back with you pretty quickly. All right, I think that's about it. If you have any questions, I'm sure stuff will come up that you have issues with, so feel free to just send me a message on Blackboard, call my office if it's during office hours, and I'll be glad to help. And yeah, let's have a good semester. Thanks.